Hey guys, how you doing? My name is Lena. Welcome back to another video. So yeah, we're doing the mid-year book freakout tag. It's super late, I know, but I just really like doing this one, so we're doing it in August. Yeah, so let's just get started with the questions. This is such a classic. So question number one, the best book you've read so far in 2021. So I have two answers for this, two, as always. So the first one is going to be The Wall of Storms by Youve, which is book 2 in the Dandelion Dynasty. I love this. I read this book in January, and the minute that I started and finished it, I was just like, this is going to be my favorite book of the year, and I can already tell, it's going to be super hard for a book to top this. Well, maybe The Veil Throne. Several of the contenders that I had already been just disqualified for the race, technically. So yeah, for now, The Wall of Storms is just the best one. This book made me so happy and so sad at the same time. So many things happen. It's such a break. I finished it in 3 days. I couldn't stop reading it. Please try this. I know that The Grace of Kings seems super intimidating. It's okay. It's also quite slow. It's fine. It's so worth it. It's so worth it. I just love it so much. Also in the same more slow vein, more political intrigue, focused fantasy, 7 Days of an Empire. I just really like this book. I don't remember a time where I read a book physically this fast. I usually read faster when I'm listening to the book and then reading at the same time. I couldn't stop reading this book. I got an arc of it that is up there, and I was just obsessed with it. I wanted my internship to be over, my shift, and just get home and just read. I just really like it. It's really slow, and it's not high fantasy, but it's really political heavy, and I love that. And I love this one. It was so good. I just want the sequel right now. I kind of beg the author for the sequel a little bit, but I'm so excited. It was so good, so good, dude. So question number 2 is best sequels you've read so far in 2021. I also have 2 for these. So the first one is going to be A Desolation Called Peace by Arkady Martin, which is the sequel to a memory called Empire. Love the first book, but the second one is great. Also very political, heavy science fiction. I love it. I just really like political intrigue in general, as you can tell. But this was fantastic. I loved seeing our characters again together. It was so nice. I was generally so happy reading this book. I just don't know. I just really like also First Contact. We have a little bit of everything. It was fantastic. Fantastic. I highly recommend this series to everyone who just enjoys sci-fi in general. It's just so cool. So cool. Please just try this one. This is not technically a sequel, but we are counting it as a sequel. Pawn's Gambit by Roger Hayes. I just like this book so much. I got an arc of Spirits of Vengeance, which is book 3 that's coming out in September. I almost cried because Roger Hayes was offering arcs, and I was just like, please give me one. And he did. He's such a cool guy. But yeah, Pawn's Gambit, I loved. I really adored this book. The ending got me gasping and crying a little bit. You're also going to see this book feature a little bit later in the video, but I just love it. I really like Rob J. Hayes books, but The Mortal Nix is just my favorite thing. They're both so great. Never Die in this one. They're both standalones, but they are set in the same universe. That's why I'm considering it a sequel. But please also try this one. Give this one a chance. This one is so good. Competition between the gods, that's always so cool to see. Then a new release that you haven't read yet but want to. I have 3 here, 2 that I have already bought, and 1 that I haven't yet because it came out last month and I didn't realize. That it came out last month. So the first one that I have here is Master Artificer by Justin Cole, which is book 2 after Master of Sorrows, which I loved. I've been waiting for this book 2 years, and I still haven't read it. But I just got the audiobook because this is a chunker. Look at this fucking beast. It's just gigantic compared to book 1, and apparently is also darker, which always sounds nice to me. But yeah, it has almost 900 pages. Still, I'm really excited. I just really want to read it, and it's just so beautiful. Covers much like so well. They're so fucking beautiful. But yeah, I just really need to read this. I think I might read this one after I finish She Who Became the Sun. Then another sequel that I still haven't read, but really want to because it's one of my favorite series, The House of Always by Jen Lyons, which is book 4 in A Curse of Dragons. I love the first 3 books. My favorite is still book 1, but I love this series. And I know this book is also like freaking amazing, apparently, according to my friends. I really need to read it. After the ending of book 3, I should be just jumping into this book, but I'm not just like in the mood to enjoy it fully yet. So I'm going to wait a little bit. But yeah, I just really need to read this one. The other book that I should be reading right now is As Good as Dead, which is book 3. Is it going to be a trilogy? I don't know. But in A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, which is a YA mystery series that I just fucking love. It's just so easy to read. They are so much fun. Book 1 is amazing. Book 2 is just as good. I'm just so excited to read book 3. Apparently, our main character is going to college, so it's going to be a little bit more adult. But they're so much fun. Like, they're so much fun. I just really want to read them finally. But I didn't realize that book 3 came out this year. I thought it was coming out like later in the year or next year for some reason. But book 1 is a must if you just like mysteries in general. It's just so well crafted. Highly recommend it. Then, most anticipated releases for the second half of the year. I said releases because there's not just one. So first, of course, Jade Legacy, the conclusion to Jade War in Jade City. Holy shit, I'm just going to fucking die probably. Like, I'm so excited. Then, of course, The Veiled Throne, book 3 in the Dandelion Dynasty trilogy. Well, it was going to be a trilogy, that's going to be a quartet. Then, of course, Priest of Vengeance, which is book 3 in Immortal Techniques. Also, Light Chaser, which is a collaboration book between I just completely blank. Peter F. Hamilton and Gareth L. Powell. That's insane. It's coming out this month. I'm super excited. And the other one that comes to mind is The Liar of Red Valley, which I requested an ARC, but it didn't go to my house. Like, I need to request it again. But I'm super excited for this one. It sounds super mysterious. Like the cover says, don't trust the liar. And it's just, it has an area of mystery. I don't know. I'm just really excited for it in general. So, biggest disappointment. For now, I'm going to stick with these 2 books. But I think that I have a third one in mind, but for now we're going to stick with these 2. So the first one is going to be Unholy War by David Hare, because after loving Scarlet Eyes, this book was not it. Like, it was so empty after all the things that happened in book 2. Like, what happened here? I don't know. I just don't know, but it made me so fucking mad. It was such a huge disappointment. I still read it quite fast, but still, what happened here? What happened here? It's just so different from the previous book. I just don't understand. I gave it like 3 stars, but just because I really liked the characters already. But it made me not want to pick up book 4 yet. And I'm quite sad about it, but still, I just, no. Then I have here The Darkness That Comes Before by Scott Baker. R. Scott Baker. I just don't know what happened here. It sounded like my perfect type of green dark book, but for some reason I just couldn't connect at all with it. I'm thinking about rereading it, but at the same time, just like, I just didn't enjoy it. So why would I do that? But still, I want to continue with the fucking trilogy, so I don't know what I'm going to do. But so many of you are just like, oh, maybe you were in a weird mood because it's actually quite good. I don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm pretty sad actually about this one. I was really hoping that I was just going to love it, but I just didn't. So I will probably give it another chance. Maybe pick up book 2 and just read that one directly. I don't know, but I'll let you know. Then, biggest surprise. So for this, I have 3 also. The first one is going to be Deadhouse Gates by Stephen Erickson. Hear me out. I liked Gardens of the Moon. I thought it was a good book. I liked it, but it was definitely overly complicated for being a first book in a series, and I found myself like really disconnecting from it a lot of times. Like, I read that book like 4 times. I should be an expert on it, but I'm not, which says a lot. But then I jumped into Dead House Gates and I freaking loved this. Like, it was so good, so different. I could follow every single character, every single storyline. I was invested in most of them. Maybe just not one, but the others were great. Super surprised with this one. I really like it. I'm super excited to continue. I should, but I'm not in the mood to read just like gigantic chunkers. Again, another super surprise. You know that I love this book, Henge. So good if you like superheroes, but like twisted superheroes like The Boys or Invincible, you're going to really like Henge. Like, I love it. It's also from the perspective of like the henchmen. So it's just super cool. I highly recommend this one. Like, it's so good. And another one that I'm just thinking about this book and I'm just like, I was so surprised by the ending that I should definitely include it. This is Skyward Inn. This is the arc. I really need to get a physical copy because it's beautiful. This was a lyrical sci-fi and I wasn't expecting much out of it at the beginning because it was too lyrical in general, but then the ending was so twisted. I just loved it. Like, the final plot twist was so good. I was just like mind blown. I'm just super happy about it. Like, I get that it's not like everyone's cup of tea. It's very weird, but the ending was mind blowing for me. Like, I just loved the ending. Every time that I think about the ending, I'm just like, wow, it was so well done. So well done. Then, favorite new author, a debut or new to me. I'm going to choose a debut and I'm going to choose Nicholas from Dreams of the Dying, which, man, I'm just going to write everything that you just come out with because he writes like the perfect amount of dark that I just love. It was so good. Also, the theme of this book was great, but in general, I think he can craft stories like so well that I'm just going to do everything. Like, I'm just going to read everything that he comes out with. Like, everything. Absolutely everything. And have you seen this book? Like, it's so beautiful. It's one of my favorite books of this year. Amazing. Highly recommend this one. It's pretty dark, so careful. But man, it was amazing. I highly recommend this one. Also, Nicholas is such a super nice dude. So yeah, I'm sticking with this one. Then we have like newest fictional crush, and I don't have any. I have none. Like, I just cannot think about one. So we're going to move on to newest favorite character, and for that I'm going to choose Lena from the Cradle series by Will White. This is my favorite book in the series so far, book 3. I just love him. He's such a himbo. He's so nice. He's like the nice guy, but sometimes he goes a little bit into the dark side, like a tiny bit, and I just really liked it. But he's overly like nice, and I just really like him in general. I'm just going to stick with Lena. Also, I haven't read like many like new series to me, so I just don't have like too many like new characters that I can like. Book that made you cry. So as before, The Wall of Storms. I found myself like, I was doing my makeup in the last scenes of the book because I was going to record, and I started crying. I was just like, holy shit, I'm just ruining everything. But it was so emotional. I was so emotional at that moment. Like, it was so fucking sad. There's this also like a sentence like the Sword of Kagan. You're just like, oh, that goes straight to the heart. And then also with Pawn's Gambit, there's a betrayal at the end of the book that was so heartbreaking. I cannot handle it. I cannot handle it. If Spirits of Vengeance has something like that, I'm just going to be destroyed probably. But yeah, it's going to be hard. Then for a book that make you happy, I'm going to choose again the Cradle series. They just made me so happy. Like the Arcane Ascension. Why do I always want to say trilogy? Like the Arcane Ascension series. They have something that I just don't know. Maybe it's the humor, maybe it's the adventure in itself. They just made me happy in general. And I'm sure that by the end of the year, I will add Soulbrand to this because I just ordered my physical copy, even though I owned it in Kindle since last month, I believe, or 2 months ago. But I'm just super excited for this. And another book that I loved and made me super happy and super emotional also was Project Hail Mary by Andrew Weir, the author of The Martian. This book was great. Like, I didn't like Artemis, but this book was fantastic. Like, I binge read it. I was so happy. It's filled with emotions and with mystery and with science. It's just so good, man. So good. I had such a good time reading this book. I wish that I had like something similar for now. But yeah, Project Hail Mary was fantastic. So, most beautiful book you've bought so far this year. I have several here. One, Rule of Wolves by Lee Verdugo, which is the final book in the Nikolai duology. I mean, on another level. These editions are fucking great. Of course, Master Artificer is also super beautiful. Like, oh, that foil, amazing. Dreams of the Dying, I mean, like, this is the naked cover because this is actually a dust jacket that works as a dust jacket. But it's just amazing. I love the art of the cover, like it's on a whole nother level. My sister calls this the zombie Lord of the Rings, and I agree. And then we have a recent acquisition of mine, She Who Became the Sun. I just really like this cover. I thought I was going to like the other one more, but this is so vibrant. I don't know, I just really like this one in general. I also have the ones We're Meant to Find, which is also beautiful, but I'm not a huge fan of people in covers. But also, let's just look at these end pages. Like, they are so fucking beautiful. And the last question is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? So, I have so many. I would really like to read The Monster Barrow Cormorant. I read Illustrator last year. I almost say last month. Last year. Really like it. Pretty much of an unpopular opinion, but I just really like it in general. So I really want to continue with it's not a trilogy, it's a quartet also. I believe it's also a quartet. But the first 3 books are out. The 4th one hasn't come out yet, I believe. But I really want to read this. Also because my friend Tammy really recommended this one to me, and I'm so dying to read it. Upon a Burning Throne. She told me that it was great. This is a highly underrated book apparently, and I'm so excited. We have Gods Meddling with Humans, which is my favorite trope of all time. Also Spin, which I have on my nightstand because I'm about to start it. Then The Court of Broken Knives, because this is a pretty... Oh my god, I'm going to sneeze. Also this one because apparently it's a very good, like, grimdark book, and it's also written by a woman, which is pretty unusual, so I'm really excited. Also, I really need to finish the Icazar Falcon because I've started this one twice and I wasn't in the right mood, neither of them, so I really need to finish this one. The Black Coast, I'm also really excited to finish, and also The Dark That Dwells. Also those that you have there, like the Mask of Mirrors, I really want to read, and also Severance by Linkma. Like, those I need to finish by the end of the year. I have to. Please make me do it. But yeah, those were basically all the books that I had to talk to you about. But what was the best book you have read this year? I'm really curious because so many of you have like so many different tastes, and I always find like so many good books because of you, like Hench, for example. So please let me know down in the comments below also your most disappointed book of this year. Like, I want to see that balance. But yeah, that's going to be all for today. So as always, I will see you in the next one. Bye.